The poem Death of a Bird by Keki and Daruwalla describes a hunting expedition. The narrator of the story is the hunter himself, and he had a female companion with him. When the man and the woman entered the forest, it so happened that a male bird and a female bird were engaged in a sexual act, and their manner of mating was fierce and violent. The birds attacked each other with their claws, and they screamed even as they continued with their act of lovemaking. The female bird seemed timid and therefore something of a nonentity, while the male bird was aggressive and fierce and seemed to be a master of the situation. The male bird was, in fact, the king. The man who carried a gun took aim at the male bird and fired. The bird fell down to the ground almost dead, though not actually dead because its heart was still throbbing. The man and his companion picked up the dying bird and deposited it into a bag, which they were carrying for the purpose. The female bird, though not hit, was badly frightened and, feeling terrified and uttering cries, flew away from the crag where the pair had been engaged in the act of lovemaking. The man and the woman walked on. After having killed the bird and having thus committed what could be regarded as a sin, the sky was being covered by mist, and the hunters somehow felt their footsteps slowing down. Clouds were gathering on the crags. As their pony was also walking slowly, the man and the woman gave it a push to quicken its pace. But the pony lost its balance and fell down into a gorge 1,000 feet below, where a river flowed, making a loud noise as it flowed. The pony screamed in pain as it fell down into the river, and while it was killed by the fall, its scream had climbed up to where the man and his companion stood in a state of horror at the accident which had just taken place. The man and the woman resumed their journey, though they were now feeling very depressed. Evening had fallen, and the wayfarers were overtaken by darkness. There were bears in the forest, and there were jackals too. The man fired his gun at the bushes and the thick growth behind which he thought bears lurked, waiting to attack them. But he missed the aim each time. When the jackals howled, the woman asked if they were wolves. But the man made no reply and simply took her hand in his and walked on towards a cave which was enclosed by pine trees and where there was less danger. They might not have been able to find this cave if they had not seen a growling dog which had been left behind by the resin tappers to guard their cans containing the resin already collected by them. Nearby, they saw more and more of mist spreading and thickening. As the woman was now feeling very cold, the man lighted a fire using dry grass and the dry dung of animals. He also rubbed her shoes and feet in order to warm her. Their limbs came into a close contact, but for some reason they inwardly felt somewhat apprehensive. Then they got ready to shoot one more bird, their last. Neither of them had at this time any sense of guilt, because they thought that neither the scream of the pony, nor the death of a bird, nor the prowling bears at whom bullets had been fired represented any sinful acts committed by them. Both were at this time guilt free. The woman was now resting her head upon the man's chest. With her hair held tightly by him in his hand, she fell asleep. The night was advancing towards its climax. The moon made its appearance for an hour or two. The wings of the dead bird looked dark. The wolves seemed to have vanished, and so did the mist. The man and the woman would have continued to dream of peace and of love if a wind had not begun to blow. The wind seemed to cause a great disturbance in the night. The loud sound of the wind could be compared to the loud moaning of a witch in pain. The man broke his gun into two towards the dawn. A brown colored bird rose from the crags, flying with force, and as it passed over the heads of the man and the woman, it shrieked with fear and fell down to the ground dead. It fell at the feet of the man and the woman, and the woman said that this bird was the mate of the one which they had shot at the very outset. She expressed the view that now a curse would overtake them. She pointed to the eyes of the dead bird to indicate that its eyes were still terror stricken.